Two ordinances. Good evening. We'll call to order the Ascension Parish Council meeting for Thursday, March 15th. Our prayer tonight will be led by Ms. Sherry Kinchin, followed by the pledge by Mr. James Hall from Boy Scout Troop 769. If everyone would please stand.
Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance tonight as we gather to do the parish business. We thank you for the many opportunities and blessings we receive here every day. We ask that you watch over our troops at home and abroad and make sure that everybody is safe and loved. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Cinnamon. All councilmen present except for Councilman Sheikh Snyder and Councilman Joseph, who have work commitments. For chair's additions, I would like to note that on item 18, 19, and 20, where it reads Lot 1 and 42, the next word should be Block 16.
It's a block 16.
Block 16. And O'Neill will be reading that as such. Public comment period sign-in. Reminder, if you wish to speak, please come fill out a card with the secretary, and you'll have your 3 minutes. And with that, we will move into the presentations. 5A is the Ascension Parish Relay for Life on April 14th. Mr. Martinez.
I'd like to call up Miss Lindsay Turner. Is she here?
You got a bad mic there, Paul.
A lot of static. Anyway, Saturday, April 14th. That's better. Having our Relay for Life at Tangle Mall. It's something that I attend every year. It's cancer survivors and to remember people that have passed away due to cancer. And it's a fundraising effort. Being a survivor, I've gone the last 9 years. In fact, this July I'll be 10 years cancer-free. So it's an exciting year for me to go. And like all of you, please come out and join us and help raise some money for cancer research. And it's a wonderful thing. We've got time, April 14th. Love to see you there. Really, I'll be there. It's a great moment to remember, but it's also fun. So come on out. Next, I'd like to ask Sherry and Miss Gwen Price to come up on behalf of Volunteer Ascension. If you don't know these two young women, they do a lot in the community, and I'm sure I'll see Sherry at Relay for Life. She comes out and volunteers and works with us, and Gwen is with the school board and does an excellent job, and I've been knowing her all my life. She's from the hometown of Darrow, Louisiana. So anyway, to proclaim National Volunteer Week in Ascension Parish, whereas experience teaches us that government by itself cannot solve all of our nation's social problems. And Ascension Parish government saw the need for and created Volunteer Ascension to serve our community. And whereas the giving of oneself in service to others empowers the giver and the recipient. And whereas all members of a community can affect positive change with any volunteer action, no matter how big or small. And whereas volunteers can connect with their local community service opportunities through service organizations like Volunteer Ascension, using their time and talent to make a real difference in the lives of others. Now therefore it be proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereunto proclaim April 15th to the 21st, 2012, as National Volunteer Week in Ascension Parish, and urge our citizens to join Volunteer Ascension in making a contribution to Ascension Parish by volunteering and recognizing those who serve. I'll present this to y'all, and as Sherry and Gwen, if you want to say a few words.
We appreciate this. I want to invite you all to our annual awards banquet, which we'll be having on April 17th. What we do each year during National Volunteer Week, that's the time for us to recognize our volunteers. So we are now seeking nominations. So if you know of a group or an individual that's making a difference in our community, we would ask that you contact our office so we can get you a nomination form. We are looking for all those people, and we have so many that are making a difference in our community. So we appreciate your support, and we hope you can come out and join us. This is free admission to the public, and again, it's on April 17th at Clarion. We hope you can join us. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all do a wonderful job. Recognize James LeBlanc. He was a volunteer of the year, I think, a couple of years ago or last year. Last year. So
And he's still volunteering.
still volunteering. Yes, he volunteers for everything. It's also one of my favorite groups. They come every year, and we have a lot of fun, and they do a wonderful job. And I think last year they raised $120,000, and it's just due to a number of volunteers and people that work with it. And I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. To proclaim April 2012 as Autism Awareness Month in Ascension Parish. Whereas autism is a lifelong developmental difference associated with significant alteration of an individual's ability to learn in the same way as others, which may include differences in social behaviors and communication. And whereas autism, also known as autism spectrum disorders, affects people regardless of race, religion, socio-economic status, or geography, and whereas the influence of autism in the United States is approximately 1 in 110, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, whereas evidence suggests autism is the result of neurological abnormalities affecting the functioning of the brain, and few members of the general public understand this complex syndrome, and whereas persons with autism can be helped to reach their greatest potential, accurate early diagnosis, and the resulting appropriate education and interventions, as well as community acceptance and accommodations, are vital to the future growth and development of the individual. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed, I, Tommy Martin, as President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, to hereunto proclaim April 2012 as Autism Awareness Month in Ascension Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. I just want to invite everyone to our Active for Autism Awareness Walk and 5K Run, Saturday, March 31st at the Independence Boulevard at State Police Headquarters. It's there again this year just because Colonel Edmondson has been so opening and just realized how many people are affected with autism. I have some of the parents here, Paul Melanson, and his wife has been so wonderful to my family because my daughter goes to her All About Dance, and she has just blossomed there. And also with Alicia, I met Alicia through the Ascension Parish Autism Support Group meeting, and I've held that at the Galvez Library since 2008, and I've developed many friendships there, and it just seems like everyone wants to come to my meetings in Ascension now. But Ascension has been above and beyond what they've done, and so far the top leaders for the team is a family from Donaldsonville, and they're called the Power of Four, and they've been so awesome, but they have been wonderful, and Families Helping Families. This is just a program of Families Helping Families. This Autism Resource Center, I am so overwhelmed with phone calls, and a lot of it from Ascension as well. We get at least 60 to 90 phone calls a month. A lot of them are new. A lot of them are newly diagnosed looking for resources. All the money that we raise, we bring it back to the community with our lending library, free workshops for parents, to empower parents about new things, new ideas. And we just want to thank y'all so much, Ascension. For our second walk, we raised $120,000. So we're hoping this year will be another successful year. So thank y'all so much.
Linda, you want to come up? I gave a little brief synopsis, but I'm not as good as you are about the relay of life.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few things about the American Cancer Society and this year's Ascension Parish Relay for Life event. Funds raised in this community benefit everyone in this community. And the American Cancer Society put that money to work in 4 different ways. We're helping people to stay well, helping people get well, finding cures for cancer, and fighting back. The society is taking steps to prevent cancer and detect it at its earliest, most treatable stage. We're in your corner around the clock to guide you through your cancer experience. And we're getting results by investing in research that helps us understand cancer's causes, determine how best to prevent it, and discover ways to cure it. The society also helps to pass laws that defeat cancer and rally communities to join the fight. And without Relay for Life, we wouldn't have the funding to provide many of these services that affect so many in this community. And thank you for your participation in the past. And right now, I would like to encourage everyone to come out April 20th. It's a Saturday, and it's going to be at Tanger Outlet Center. And this year, the hours are going to be from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're also asking for parish leadership to come out and show your support, whether it's forming a team or adopting a team and just coming out there and being a part of this event with the community. Finally, cancer never sleeps, and for this one night, neither will we. Thank you.
I'm glad you came, because we announced the 14th. That's what we had.
I'm sorry, it is the 14th.
Oh.
That's the 20th?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, no.
Okay. Well, good. We were good before. Okay. Toby and Tandy, I'd like y'all to come up, please. And James, if you want to come up with us, I'd appreciate it. These are actually 2 very special people, 3 actually with James, but tonight, I want to talk a little bit about Toby and Tandy and what they did. Of course, all of you have heard about the tragedy with the 2 children that drowned when they went off the road a few weeks back. There were 4 children in that vehicle, and could have very well been a couple weeks ago that it would have been 4 children that we'd have been talking about here tonight. But due to the heroic efforts from Tandy and Toby, we managed to save 2 of those children. And Ascension Parish is truly blessed to have so many true heroes in our midst. And he just went out, did what came naturally to him, jumped in the bayou with no regard for his own life, and was able to grab the hand of one child, and then went back out and luckily saw the hand of the other child coming up and grabbed it and brought her to the bank. So, you know, a couple months ago, I think we had Mike Bruin here, and he did something, you know, he went and burning house with no regards for his life. And so, again, it seems like on a regular basis, Ascension Parish is, again, I say truly blessed to have such people of that character. And without any further ado, I'd like to make a presentation to this couple. And we appreciate everything that you did. And we want to present you with this.
At what age do you have to start wearing glasses?
Parish of Ascension is proud to present this certificate of recognition to Toby and Tandy Ragus of Santa Monica, Louisiana, on the night of Tuesday, February 21st, 2012, a date that will forever be remembered by the residents of Ascension Parish. Toby and Tandy responded to the scene of a tragic car accident. While Tandy contacted Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office authorities, Toby courageously jumped into the waters of Black Bayou, where the submerged vehicle was located, in an effort to aid and save any of the passengers. It is because of their selfless efforts and true caring for their fellow parish residents that we can join Council Chair Chris Lohr and the entire Parish Council in recognizing the heroism shown by Toby and Tandy Ragus. And we'd like to present this certificate of recognition.
I told Benny Johnson I wasn't going to speak tonight, but you know, the mic got in my hand, so once the mic gets in my hand, it's uncontrollable. But look, I just wanted to say that, you know, I'm also I'm ready for these incidents to quit happening in my area. You know, it seems like every other month I'm up here, you know, with something tragically happening in our area. But I just wanted to say that when you wake up every day and you go to bed every night in Ascension Parish, you never know what's going to be in front of you. You never know. And this particular night, Toby and Tandy sitting in their front yard, you know, around a fire, minding their own business, and all of a sudden they hear this car go in the water, and they hear these kids start screaming, and they hear this mama start screaming. And I don't know if each and every one of you was able to listen to the 911 tapes that came over the local news channels, but, you know, just being there that night is a feeling that's never going to leave me as a 26-year veteran of the fire service in Ascension. But, you know, Toby and Tandy never lost focus on what they needed to do. And I want to make sure the residents of Ascension know that, you know, these babies that Toby and Tandy were able to get out the water, they wasn't swimming. These babies were actually underwater. And on one occasion, the only thing Toby saw was the fingers of one of them. And when he grabbed, he didn't grab fingers, he grabbed a shoulder. And if Toby Ragus is not there that night, we are talking about 4 fatalities instead of 2. And our hearts, you know, definitely go out to the families. We've been recognizing them, and we've been doing memorials for them for about the last 2 weeks. But tonight, Toby and Tandy, tonight's y'all night. Y'all remarkable job, and I tell you what, yeah, it happened right place at the right time. But I'm gonna just tell you, you did a wonderful job that night, and I can't get over how when all this was going on, y'all never lost focus, and I can't thank you enough for that.
We're gonna we proclaimed I think it was the 4th, March 4th, as a day of remembrance for the 2 children that were lost, and we're gonna have the mother come up and receive that certificate in April, and then we're gonna also thank the great number of volunteers. The Santa Monica Fire Department, as usual. Gonzales Fire Department went out, the divers, and Sheriff's Office. It was truly a team effort. But tonight, as I said, two true heroes are here tonight that gave it up and went and did what they needed to do. So thank you. Next, I'm going to call upon the scout that was up here earlier and his father, Mr. Hogg, Jim Hogg, who I've been knowing for quite a while, and let him tell us about the 1863 adventure. It's, I think, a fundraiser for the troop in Prairieville area, and so Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you at this point.
All right.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you very much, Tommy. And Dempsey, for this opportunity. You know, there's so much history here in Ascension Parish, and as we celebrate Louisiana's bicentennial history, we are reminded that there's so many great forefathers that came before us. And my wife, Linda Brown, has deep roots in Ascension Parish. And James, my son James, his great-grandfather was Henry Thompson Brown, and he's buried behind Oak Grove Baptist Church, where we meet at Boy Scout every Monday night. But 2 out of 3 Americans fought during the terrible war between the states. 2 out of 3 ancestors of Americans living today fought during that war. And so James's interest in history, we homeschool, he's just lit up over it. So we're, as an old dad, we're kind of going with it. And so we dedicated this film. We did this film about, well, James, tell them, what is this film, the 1863?
It's about a boy during the Civil War telling his perspective of what happened in it. And it has music, how to make a Brunswick stew, how to load and fire a musket, and how to make a Civil War encampment.
Things we all need to learn, especially the Brunswick stew. But it's a narrative, and we feel like the greatest Boy Scout troop in the country under the leadership of David Bro, Troop 769. And so James said, Dad, why don't we see if a theater would actually play this film that we made to DVD, my 1863 adventure. So the fine folks at the Grand Cinema Theater said, you know what, man, let's do it. And so they've allowed us to come over there and have a fundraiser for the benefit of Troop 769. And so on March the 31st, in 2 weeks, Saturday, March 31st at 10 a.m., they're going to show it. It's going to be a one-time shot. And it's going to be 10 o'clock in the morning, a matinee. So we encourage everyone to come out. And for $6.50, which includes what?
It includes the popcorn, and it includes also a soft drink.
So that's a pretty good deal. $6.50 for a popcorn and soft drink and get in. And 100% of the proceeds go to the Scouts, Troop 769. And so, again, I thank you for this opportunity, and we just encourage all kids and grandkids that want to learn a little bit about history on what happened from the perspective of a small boy and the terrible tragedy that took place. So hopefully we will never make that same mistake again. And if we could favor you just for a second or two, we were going to do a different little number, but we'd like to do a song called the Ashokan Farewell, and James will play it right now and dedicate it to these 2 children that just perished, if that's all right.
That was very, very nice. Thank you. And we'll see you on the 31st. Parish President Martinez, Parish President's report is that next item on the agenda?
One thing, I have Miss Darlene Schexnayder here with our Council on Aging. Does a wonderful job. If you've ever visited any of our centers, she has taken the reins where Miss Grace Guerin left off and has done an equal, if not superior job. I don't want to tell Grace that, but she wants to come up and make a few statements, and I just want to encourage you, Darlene, to tell us about what's going on and what we can do to help.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Parish President Tommy Martinez for allowing me to address you tonight. I come before you tonight to ask for your support in our opposition for the proposed takeover of the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs by the Department of Health and Hospitals. This proposed move is being done under the veil of consolidating offices, but I, along with other COA directors, have concerns as to why, when what we have works so well. The current structure has been in place since the 1970s, and Ascension COA will celebrate 40 years of service this fall to the senior citizens of our parish. Seniors can call our offices and speak to a live person. We assist them in all aspects of needs, and if we can't help them, we find someone who can help them. Our seniors know we are available to help with applications for other services, to help them navigate automated phone systems and or websites that most state agencies use. We are the only provider of transportation to doctor's appointments, pharmacies, grocery shopping, social service agencies for non-Medicaid seniors and disabled passengers on a demand response basis. Last year, we served over 90,400 home delivered meals and are on target to serve over 100,000 this fiscal year. Our senior centers provide seniors with a place to have a meal, socialize, and have recreational opportunities, along with educational programs. We have also increased homemaker services, and our wellness programs are helping in our mission to allow seniors to age in place with dignity in the manner of their choosing. We have recently partnered with LSU to bring OLLI leisure classes to Ascension Parish and are looking to renovate our senior centers to increase our programs for our ever-expanding population. In Ascension, we are very fortunate to have a millage tax that helps to support our programs, and we have continued to expand our services to accommodate the ever-increasing population. So far, we have been able to keep up with the demand for services, but that may not always be the case. Any loss in funding will jeopardize the programs we have in place. While we have been assured by the Department of Health and Hospitals that all of our funding is intact for FY 2013, what about the future? We have tried to understand the reason for this proposed move, and the only thing that keeps coming up is money. We have been told that there will be no benefit for DHH in this merger. However, one thing comes up at our stakeholders meetings over and over, and that is leveraging state and local funds to get additional federal dollars. I was singled out at a stakeholders meeting on March 2nd. Hugh Ely of the Office of Aging and Adult Services pointed at me and said, Ascension, you have a millage, and you could give us $100,000, we could turn that into $300,000. Then you would get $130,000, but that's negotiable. Maybe you'll get $150,000. Then the hospital or nursing home you contract with would get $50,000, and then DHH would get $100,000. It sounds to me like DHH would benefit greatly from this merger. If we turn over any funds to them for leveraging, we would lose control of these funds. It would not be guaranteed that any of the federal dollars that are drawn down would be returned to us, and we may not even get our matching funds returned. I'm concerned about the state getting too involved in parish business and trying to control our programs and our funding. I'm asking for your support in our opposition to this proposed transfer of the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs to the Department of Health and Hospitals. Thank you for your time. And thank you, Perry.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. We certainly appreciate all of the work that you and your board and your team does for our senior citizens in the community. And we certainly work with our state legislators to be sure that you guys are protected and can still continue to deliver those great services in our parish.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Joseph.
can we send a resolution that state we are against this, our senior citizen against this merger, and that we oppose this action? And move that in the motion of the resolution? Unless no one.
I second.
Okay.
If you want to send it forward, if you need to put it on the agenda, though, Chairman.
Okay, O'Neill, well, I'll tell you what, we can do, I'll make a commitment, we'll put this on the next council agenda. We'll draft up the resolution in the meantime, because I don't believe we're allowed to vote on it since it's not on the agenda tonight. So we will draft that, and we will have it as an item on the next agenda for everyone to support that resolution, okay?
Sound good.
All right. Okay, the next item, obviously, Councilman Joseph is present, for the record. All right. Formalities. So, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair would entertain a motion to move.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Brian Melanson. Any objection? Motion passes. Item number 8 is the NECO update. Councilman Kluwat gave a pretty good update at the drainage board meeting, so I won't belabor this too much, but I just wanted to mention that the council did go up to D.C. recently for our National County Officials Convention. Learned a lot from some other parishes as far as best practices go, and also had the time to meet with our federal delegation and stress our priorities, which were obviously about infrastructure, specifically some of the big ticket items around Highway 42, the West Bank Expressway, also looking at the Ascension Livingston corridor, and of course our major funding needs coming down the line for sewer. So I just wanted to say that it was very good. I think we made some good contacts. Also worked through some issues with the Corps and things while we were there. So basically, just kind of wanted to let everybody know that we made a lot of progress while we were up there. The next item is the council priority objectives. Item number 9. We have a presentation. If you could get that fired up, John. All right. Okay, so wanted to basically put this together with the committee chairs to kind of have them review some of the major initiatives that they're going to be working on. As we've kind of been getting off the ground here as a council, kind of identifying things that need to be improved or opportunities for change here. I thought it would be good to have them present for each of their particular areas some of the big ticket items, some of the major priorities. Obviously, we all bring a lot to the table in terms of our individual ideas, our talents, our interests. Maybe those are some for the districts that we serve. Maybe those are just something that's of unique interest to us. But these are some of the things that we feel like are the major items that we want to attack right out of the gate. So, the goal is really to kind of start communicating to the public some of that vision and to, basically let these committees begin working through some of these solutions that you'll be seeing come to this council. So without further ado, we'll move on to transportation. Our transportation chairman is Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In moving forward, developing the transportation plan, the half-cent proposal is being discussed. It's estimated we could sell some bonds for $80 million, and what roads, intersections to do with the funding, timeline of improvements, and the DOTD state road transfer plan, possibly taking over ownership of many state roads, estimated at $100 million cost for the future maintenance. And we'll be bringing you updates on quite a few things here with just, it's going to be the blessings of whatever with the half cents, whatever the public wants. We will respect that, and we will try to get out as quick as possible. I've heard as quick as 4 to 6 months. With some of these shovel-ready projects that we have, we can move some move some turn lanes and some roundabouts and different things, get the traffic moving in the parish very quick. With this DOTD road transfer plan, this is where we're starting to save lives. The fatality rate is down on one of these roads that we've taken ownership of. We're lowering speed limits. We're working with the state. We're working with our in-house engineers, staff. This is all going to play a big part in what happens in the future. So that's my little update.
Great. Thank you, Dempsey. Next is our Utilities Chairman, Councilman Benny Johnson.
Yeah, we're going to be picking up the mantle of a comprehensive sewer plan that's been being worked on for a number of years in the parish. Why this is needed is some of our waterways have been identified by DEQ as having high levels of contaminants in those waterways, which is coming from sewer effluent. So it's being mandated that we do something to try to curb that, as well as the fact that the limits are not going to go up, they're coming down, so they're going to get tighter. So we've got to do something to get our house in order with that. So in line with that, a couple of things that are already on the books that are pushing us towards this is the Highway 73 project. The state is going in and widening Highway 73 between the interstate and Highway 61. They're putting in a curb and gutter system on the roads and not open ditches. They're doing that in a manner to save funding as far as right-of-way acquisition. And so that's mandating us to put in a sewer system, because we can't have septic tanks or modads paying off into a closed ditch. It's got to go into a sewer system. So, and also with the Highway 42 road project coming up, hopefully in the not so distant future, that road will be the same type of construction, so that's going to mandate that we put a sewer line along that road improvement as well. With the standards tightening, of course, that leads us to the point, if we don't do something that we will be in, but what they declare as environmental noncompliance, which will severely, if not totally, restrict any permits for construction in the parish. And so in order to prevent that from happening, we're working to get a comprehensive sewer plan coming in. Also, another thing that the sewer system would help us out with is with commercial development and attracting more businesses into the parish. There's been several times where we've lost out on some economic development because of not having a comprehensive sewer system. So that would be a positive impact. We are already in the sewer business in a few areas. We have systems in a few subdivisions that we've had to take over because of environmental noncompliance, Country Ridge, Trailer Land, and we've also got some sewer systems in the Darrow area, to name a few that we are currently operating as of today. What we are working towards on the Utilities Committee is going to be to take all the past proposals. We're not looking at putting out any new studies or anything else. We've got enough of that. We want to go ahead and take everything we've got and develop a plan forward using all the best of all those plans, putting it together and get us a comprehensive plan developed out of that and a method of moving forward. And then from there, once we get that developed, we will look at how we're going to pay for it. That's the big discussion that we're going to wind up having to have, and trying to come up with the best method for doing that, whether it be a public-private partnership, some sort of incremental financing. We've got some opportunities for some dollars as far as low-interest loans are concerned, but this is a long-term, very expensive project that we're undertaking here. It's not anything that's going to be a simple decision to make. And as for many people we have in the parish, they probably got different ideas on what this ought to look like. So not everybody's going to be pleased with what we come up with, but it's time that we take some action on that. We feel very, very strong that we need to take some action and get this thing moving, and that's what we're going to pledge to do. We're going to get this moving and try to get the best system that we can for the best dollar that we can get.
All right. Thank you, Benny. Before I actually move on to strategic planning, which I'll be given since Councilman Shakespeare, as chairman of that committee, is not here. I did neglect to mention that we do not have a slide for drainage tonight, and that's because our drainage chairman, Randy Cluot, does a great job actually at every meeting kind of going through the major priorities, and that's kind of strategy's pretty much set, and you guys are executing on that very well. So, and that's, as you know, a separate drainage board's actually separate. So these are just council committees tonight. As for strategic planning, Ken asked me to go over these items. First off, the garbage and recycling district. There's been a lot of demand and questions from people about why we don't have recycling or don't desire for that service. There's also complaints around the cost of garbage pickup and all of that. And so we feel like there's an opportunity there for to create a garbage and recycling district, because it's one of those rare opportunities in government where we actually think we can provide lower cost and actually provide more services by doing some consolidation and perhaps a franchise agreement. So that's being looked at. Also, some ordinance revisions. The burn ordinance, I know, has been recently discussed, strategic planning, and perhaps if we have yard debris pickup as part of the garbage and recycling services, you could have a burn ordinance for non-rural areas. Obviously, I don't think anyone's looking at it for rural areas. That'll probably always be there. But another thing recently was the noise ordinance with the recent ruling in terms of our ability to enforce that. So we'll be taking a look at that. Code enforcement is an area that was a focus in the last term. We did some revisions to some laws there. Also got a parish court started, then have been without a judge to hear the cases lately. So basically getting that kick-started again, and also doing whatever we need to do from our standpoint in terms of additional funding to allow administration to have the folks on the ground to really put some teeth behind that and do what they need to do. So figuring out that funding. Also subdivision regulations and construction standards. Basically here the point is just holding developers to a higher standard, whether it's perhaps sidewalks, requiring sidewalks. We have issues with subdivisions that kind of change in different phases throughout the subdivision. The road construction issues while subdivisions are being constructed, all of that. It will be Councilman Shakespeare will be taking a look at that, as will the Strategic Planning Committee. So that's it for strategic planning. Next, we'll move on to recreation. Our Recreation Chair, Travis Turner.
Thank you, Chairman. As far as the recreation, we'd like to look at a vision for Lamar Dixon as utilizing the buildings and outdoor land for multi-use fields, building baseball fields, soccer fields, and football fields in the existing land that's there to better utilize that space to give the use of this parish an opportunity to enjoy sports in this parish and not have to go to other areas to participate in those sports. And it'd be better to have it in one centralized location instead of spread out throughout the whole parish. I also want to utilize the indoor buildings for multi-use sports, basketball, volleyball, maybe indoor soccer. Maybe build new or modify some of the existing structures that's at Lamar Dixon to have more playing surfaces for indoor fields. Also, community park improvements. We want to renovate and expand and update the existing park system we have prior to building new parks. Also, a favor of Mr. Chairman Lord, the dog parks and the spray parks, and jogging and bike trails. And also would like to, maybe when we build new parks, try to build a multi-use facility at those parks. So you build a multi-use indoor facility, baseball field, and a football field to have all that in, as with Lamar Dixon, the central location. And also look at private funding opportunities to make these projects go.
Great. Next is our Finance Chair, Ms. Terry Cazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee, together with the outstanding staff of the Finance Office in the parish, will work to develop some impact fees or something similar to that. We want to meet with the stakeholders, determine a workable compromise that fairly and impartially pays for impact and provides accountability as well as transparency. We look to do some aggressive grant funding opportunities, and Beth and Martha are already doing an outstanding job in this area, and we want to just support them in that. We will have some analysis of the current permit and fee schedule with our neighboring parishes, comparable parishes, and I will be calling on the staff to do that analysis and make recommendations to the council. We will also, having developed having had a discussion about the development of grant procedures for funding of nonprofits. Beth and Martha have agreed to work with me on that and make some recommendations to the Finance Committee on how we can best provide funding for our nonprofits in a fair and impartial way. From an economic development perspective, we will be working with legal counsel, with the parish president, with the sheriff's office, and with the school board to quantify what are already excellent incentive packages and maybe tighten those up a little bit and have a recommendation for the council.
All right, thank you, Terry. I'm glad we ended with finance because it seems that so much of the struggle we deal with here is not around coming up with good ideas. It's coming up with ways to fund them with our limited budget. We certainly have a lot of demand for services. There are some things around policy decisions and strategy that can be made fairly quickly, but there's also things when you're talking about sewer, we're talking about transportation that are going to be hundreds of millions of dollars, and so there's going to have to be some creative thinking and ways that we can look at and serious conversations with the public about how we're going to do this to try to provide them some relief. And so, that's part of what we're trying to do here tonight is communicate that these are the things we're going to be looking at, but to begin setting the stage and having these kind of conversations in these committees, we make a commitment to be transparent with the public, to educate the public really on the state of our finances, what their taxes really go for, what the scope of the problem really is, and then some potential ideas for solutions there. So again, these, as Councilman Johnson alluded to, these are very complex issues once you start diving into them, and so we will just continuously be striving to accomplish these and our other goals through these committees. I'll ask again, remind everyone that this is not an all-inclusive list. It's just kind of the major strategic initiatives at the outset. But if you have additional things that you'd like to see, to work with your committee chairman and we'll work through the process. So, with that, I'll open it up for any discussion. Does anybody have anything? Anyone? Councilman Joseph.
I just want to say, just compliment you on that, Chris, that putting this vision out there so we can let the public know, and we are all in agreement with that. But really, we want to stress that the public, we are willing to work with the public input because we need to move this parish forward. Sure. And once again, I want to compliment you on that.
I appreciate it, but it's not. It's not for me, really. The council, all the committee chairs came up with their own slides and put that together. So I appreciate their work on this and their vision for their committees. So thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Okay. If not, we will move on to item number 10, which is a bid for the 2012 Donaldsonville Public Park Pavilion. Ms. Joan?
On March 13, 2012, the purchasing department received 4 bids for the Donaldsonville Public Park Pavilions. After review, Hartman Engineering, the purchasing and grants department, recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Acadian Commercial Contractors, LLC, and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
Okay.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Joseph.
Discussion.
To accept the bid, Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, can you give us a little background on this pavilion? This is the first I've heard of it. So
This is a FEMA project.
Okay.
Basically, it's paid for entirely with FEMA money.
Yeah,
it was
I realize that.
It was part of the damage that was done. West Ascension Recreation, actually, before we took over, had started the process on this. When we took over West Ascension Recreation, we took it over. And now, as I said, it's 100%. It's not going to cost the parish anything. So.
yeah, I was just wanted a little background on the project.
But it's going to rebuild the pavilions.
I know where the funding's coming from. I realize that.
But it's going to rebuild the pavilions that were torn down during Gustav, that were next to the Lemon Center. There's going to be some bathrooms there and also some concession stands when it's built back, and barbecue pits.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a really good project once it's finished and be utilized quite a bit. The other was there since the South Louisiana State Fair. Those pavilions were built for that in the 50s, and it withstood time until Gustav. And
Great.
So, okay.
Councilman Joseph?
Yes, and I just wanted the West Ascension Recreation Board that initially started this project after Gustav. I just want to, say they did a very well job on it, because I think it was like close to 450,000, something like that. And they really worked hard to through that process to get that FEMA money. So I just want to make sure they are recognized, and they did a great job on getting those funding. And once again, the administration is doing a good job in making sure this building get up.
Okay. I have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the lowest bidder for Acadian Commercial Contractors. Is there any other discussion? Any objection? That motion passes. Item number 11 is introduction of ordinance. Mr. O'Neill.
This is an introduction of an ordinance for the donation of a 2003 Crown Victoria for Fire District Number 1 from the city of Gonzales.
Motion introduced, Mr. Chairman.
Motion introduced by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Kluai. Any objection? The motion is introduced. Item number 12 is the reading of the ordinance to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2011 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on the 29th of November 2010. Mr. Merrington.
Yes, this is ordinance budget amendment number 4, an ordinance to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2011 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by the Ascension Parish Council on the 29th day of November 2010. Section 1, the Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains that the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2011 operating and capital for the Parish of Ascension is hereby, appropriating 2010. That's the 2011 operating and budgets for the Parish of Ascension is hereby amended, approved, and appropriated as follows. Operating fund, general fund, expenditure, increase for reimbursement requests not received to date, transfer out of community block grant, $70,000, transfer out of CBDBG construction, $70,000, FEMA. Repair loss, red acquisitions and elevations, revenues decrease for funds not spent, grant flood mitigation, $458,500, expenditures decrease for grant funds not spent, grant flood mitigation, $454,500, Fire District Number 1 sinking fund expenditures, debt service increase to $95,000 for the interest payment due on a new debt for fire trucks, interest $15,000. Community Development Block Grant revenues, LRA CDBG grant, document for reimbursement receipt request not received to date, $119,100. Transfer into general fund, increase for reimbursement request not received, $70,000. Expenditures, administration, $500. CDBG Sorrento Community Center, $27,500. CDBG Lemon Center Improvements, $9,500. CDBG DPW Building, $13,000. CDBG Sorrento Sewer Improvements, $12,000. CDBG Deville Sewer Improvements, $19,500. CDBG Construction Fund Revenues, LRA CDBG Grant, December for reimbursement requests not received to date, $48,500. Transfer in general fund, increase for reimbursement requests not received, $70,000. Expenditures, CDBG Purchase Louisiana Fairgrounds, $68,500. CDBG West Ascension Park Work Building, $60,000. CDBG Parish Sewers Construction, $59,000. This ordinance having been submitted to vote, the vote thereon is as follows.
Motion to open the public hearing, Mr.
Motion to open the public hearing by Councilman Ty Lambert, and a second by Councilman Brian Melanson.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Melanson.
Move the ordinance, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to move the ordinance by Councilman Benny Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is adopted. Item number 15, to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2012 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by the Parish Council on the 17th day of November, 2011. O'Neill?
This is ordinance budget amendment number 1, an ordinance to amend the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2012 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension, adopted by Ascension Parish Council on the 17th day of November 2011. Section 1, the Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains that the ordinance approving, adopting, and appropriating the 2012 operating and capital budgets for the Parish of Ascension is hereby amended, approved, and appropriated as follows. Operating budget, Lamar Dixon. Revenues, increased to $100,000 for the state grant appropriation. Grants, $100,000. Expenditures, increased to $101,000 for purchase of bleachers and PA system for 4-H building. Acquisitions, vehicles, and equipment, $86,000. Fire District number 3, 77. Revenues and other financing sources transfers in to combine Fire District number 3 dedicated funds. Number 78, revenues and beginning fund balance, and Fire District number 3, Fund 77. Ad valorem taxes, $3,095,000. Parcel fee, $362,000. State revenue sharing, $170,000. Interest earnings, $500. Transfer in FD number 3 reserve, $2,000. Transfer in FD number 3 sinking, $500. Transfer in FD 300,000 dedicated, $650,000. Transfer in Fire District number 3 dedicated beginning fund balance, $5,109,494. Expenditures and other financing uses transfer out to combine Fire District number 3 dedicated fund number 77 and expenditures with Fire District number 3 dedicated number 7. Salaries exempt, $130,000. Workers' compensation, insurance, $40,000. Operating supplies, $4,500. Transportation and mileage, $7,500. Contribution to retirement system, dedicated tax collection, $55,000. Miscellaneous expenses, $4,000. Acquisitions, buildings and land, $165,000. Transfer out of general fund, $159,700. Transfer out of Fire District number 3 sinking, $367,000. Transfer to Fire District number 3 construction, $1,200,000. Fire District number 3 dedicated, 78. Revenues and other financing sources transfers in to combine Fire District number 3 dedicated fund 78 and revenues and beginning fund balance with Fire District number 3 fund 77. Ad valorem property taxes, $3,095,000. Parcel fee, $362,000. State revenue sharing, $170,000. Interest earnings, $500,000. Transfer in Fire District number 3 reserve, $2,000. Transfer in Fire District number 3 sinking, $500. Expenditures and other financing sources transfers out to combine Fire District number 3 dedicated fund number 78. Expenditures with Fire District number 3 fund 77. Salary exempt, $138,000. Salary non-exempt, $608,000. FICA tax expense, $14,000. Retirement, $180,500. Health insurance, $80,000. Workers' compensation insurance, $40,000. Operating supplies, $4,500. Transportation and mileage, $7,500. Contribution to retirement system, dedicated tax collection, $55,000. Miscellaneous expense, $4,000. Acquisitions, building and land, $165,000. Transfer to Fire District number 3 construction, $1,200,000. This ordinance having been submitted to vote, the vote thereon was as follows.
Motion to open the public hearing by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Doc Satterley. Anyone wishing to speak, come forward. Motion to close by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Doc Satterley.
Motion moved to orders, Mr.
Motion to
Chairman.
move the ordinance by Councilman Benny Johnson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Brian Malansaw.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Cazzo.
Yes, I would like to recuse myself in this situation. At the time that this ordinance was presented, I was a member of the Board of Commissioners of Fire District 3, and therefore I think it's a conflict for me to vote here.
Okay. Gentlemen, please note that Councilwoman Cazzo has recused herself from this vote. I have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Is there any discussion? Any objection? That ordinance is adopted. We'll move on to item number 18, to declare as surplus property 2 parcels of immovable property currently owned by the Parish of Ascension bearing the following property address: Lot 41 and 42, Block 16, Donaldsonville, Louisiana 70747. O'Neill?
Yes. Ordinance purpose to declare surplus property 2 parcels of immovable property currently owned by the Parish of Ascension bearing the following property addresses: Lot number 41 and Lot 42, Block 16, Donaldsonville, Louisiana 70747. Once designated as surplus property, the Parish of Ascension shall sell said surplus property pursuant to LSA RS 334712 at Seek. Whereas the Parish of Ascension owns, more particularly described in Exhibit A, attached thereto and made a part hereof, that was acquired on September 27, 1999 and October 29, 2001. Whereas the Ascension Parish Council, through the powers granted of the Home Rule Charter, has authority to declare property belonging to the parish as surplus and transfer said property according to law. Where it is the high recommendation of the Ascension Parish President that said property be declared surplus and transferred according to law, and whereas the recommendation is based on several facts and considerations, simply, the property described above is no longer needed for the purpose in which it was originally purchased. Property continues to deteriorate and lose value due to depreciation and lack of use. The Parish of Ascension must maintain services on said property, including maintenance and insurance costs. The Parish of Ascension remains liable for any injuries and other activities that may occur on the parish-owned property and all other considerations that is normal and routine with the holding and/or owning of immovable property. Whereas Ascension Parish is of the opinion that the property is surplus and no longer needed for public purposes, and that it would be in the public interest to declare said property as surplus and transfer said property according to law. Whereas Ascension Parish is of the opinion that in consideration of the condition of the properties, the value of each property listed is less than $100,000. Therefore, it is ordained that the Ascension Parish Council declares that the property described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, is declared surplus and should be sold by cash sale to the highest bidder with a minimum bid of $18,800 combined. Therefore, be it further ordained that all sales that be conducted as set forth by relevant Louisiana law, including but not limited to the following sections. Section 2, following the adoption of the ordinance and all required publications of said ordinance, if no restraining order has been obtained, the parish president is authorized to execute an act of cash sale in which the Parish of Ascension conveys said properties to the highest bidder in consideration of the sum equal to or in excess of the minimum bid requirements of $18,800 plus any and all associated costs. However, the parish president shall not execute the act of cash sale until certification, 1, that the purchaser has certified in writing to the parish president that the purchaser or his agent has examined the mortgage records, conveyance records, probate and civil records of the clerk of the Ascension Parish. Attached to the certification, a written list of all the names of last known addresses of all owners, mortgages, and/or other persons who might have a vested contingent interest in the property, or who has filed a request for notice as provided by LARS 472261. Said written certification shall contain an indemnification and hold harmless clause by the purchaser in favor of the Parish of Ascension to its officers, agents, and employees if the purchaser should fail to request notification to any party or should incorrectly identify or locate any interested party. Purchaser has made written requests to the office of the parish prince to notify those persons identified above in accordance with LARS 334720.17 and LARS 472261 and has paid the sum of $5 per notice and/or sum of $30 per notice for publication requested or supplied evidence that the notice satisfactory to the office of the parish president, that the notice required by LARS 4320.17 and LARS 472261 has been made by purchaser or his agents. Purchaser has recorded evidence of notice required by Louisiana RS 334720.17 and LARS 472261 and conveyance records of Ascension Parish and has provided the office of the parish president a stamped copy of the recorded evidence on notice. Purchaser has certified in writing to the office of the parish president that the number of days required by LARS 334720.17 has elapsed since the required notice was made or attempted that the property has not been redeemed by payment of the taxes owed. Purchaser has paid the consideration in cash to the parish and cash sale attached to the above approved by the office of the parish president. Purchaser had deposited in the Parish of Ascension amount to be required in escrow. Section 3, if all the requirements of Section 2 are not completed within 6 months from the date this ordinance is adopted, the parish president's authority to execute an act of cash sale for this property shall cease, and any and all rights of the purchaser for the property shall terminate. Section 4, this act of sale shall be without warranty without any warranty or recourse whatsoever, including warranty of title, even for the return or reduction of the purchase price, but with subrogation to our rights and actions of warranty the parish of Ascension may have, and such sale shall contain such warranty limitations and other provisions as required by the office of the parish president. The parish of Ascension shall reserve all oil, gas, and other mineral rights in and to the property to be conveyed, subject to the interests of the original owners and/or vendors of said property, but shall convey the surface rights to the said property. Section 6, any and all sales of such property shall be subject to any and all servitudes and easements. Section 7, all property subject to an as-is clause is prepared by the parish of Ascension. This ordinance has been submitted to vote and thereon as follows.
Motion to open a public hearing.
Motion up to open the public hearing by Councilman Satterley, second by Councilman Kluwat. The public hearing is now open. If you want to speak, please come forward.
Close.
Motion to close by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Oliver Joseph. Public hearing is now closed. A motion to move the ordinance, please.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Kluwat. Any discussion on the ordinance? Any objection? Ordinance is adopted. Before we get to Councilman Todd Lambert here, a few items. First, Parish President Martinez, I believe you have a new member of your team you wanted to introduce?
Yes, Monday we had a new member come aboard, Mr. Ken Dawson. He has a very diversified background, is going to be leading, be one of my chief executive assistants, and he's going to have drainage, public works, and numerous other departments under him. So with the new goals and that the council is setting, we're going to have, we're going to reorganize and have 3 of these team leaders, and hopefully we can spend the time that's needed to get these projects off the ground and provide the staff that you need to follow and make sure that your goals are met. And I'd like to introduce Ken Dawson, the little bitty guy in the back.
All right. Welcome, Ken.
Welcome.
Okay, next, did want to have a special mention. Miss Charlotte Guidry is leaving the Weekly Citizen and is going to be the new tourism director, but just wanted to say thank you for all your late nights covering us, and I know you're continuing to represent and promote Ascension Parish well, so thank you. Lastly, wanted to thank Deputy Stacy Fortenberry in the back, sir. Thank you for your work here tonight. And with that, Councilman Todd Lambert.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Lambert. Second by
Second.
Councilman Turner. Thank you, sir. We are adjourned.